Hello everyone. In the previous video we were doing the difference between metals and non-metals according to the different conditions and different situations. Okay, and here we are continuing with our previous topic. So here the difference between metals and non-metals and what different conductivity do they both have. So first of all, if we talk about the metals, so conductivity, that means where conduction occurs. So metals are conductive in nature, so they are good conductor of electricity, but in case of non-metals they are bad conductor of electricity. But exceptions are everywhere, we know very well. Okay, and graphite is the example of non-metal which conducts electricity, right? So if I'm giving some examples like aluminium, coal, silver, or this graphite. So among all, what do you think can conduct electricity or conduct heat? So if we talk about the aluminium, it's a metal, right? And it conducts electricity and heat also. But if we talk about the coal, it's non-metal and it does not conduct any heat and electricity. In the another case, graphite, we know very well that graphite is non-metal, still it conducts heat and electricity. Clear? And silver is the best metal that can conduct electricity, right? So this is what about the conductivity. The next one we have sonorous. So what is sonorous? When two things collide with each other, okay, and they produce a sound, okay, and that is known as sonorous. So most of the metals, they are sonorous in nature, they produce sound after colliding with another metal, right? But if we talk about the non-metals, they are not sonorous in nature. Clear? So they do not produce any sound. Okay, so they produce sound, that means they are sonorous in nature, and they don't produce what? Sound. Clear? Next difference we have melting and boiling point. So metals, they have high melting and boiling point, but the non-metals, they have low boiling and melting point except graphite and diamond. So exceptions are there, graphite and diamond. So these are the two non-metals, they have high melting and boiling point. Clear? So now we have specific gravity, that means how this gravity is different in metals and non-metals. So first of all, what is specific gravity? It is density of object divided by the density of water. That means just suppose it's here water and it's an object. Clear? So the area which is in the water, okay, this submerged area, this is known as the specific gravity of an object. Clear? So metals have high specific gravity than the non-metals. Non-metals, they do not have specific gravity, they have very low specific gravity. Clear? And if we talk about the metals, iron, its specific gravity is 7.8, and if we talk about the copper, so its specific gravity is 8.7. And one more thing, there is no any SI unit of specific gravity. So this is specific gravity which is different in metals and non-metals. Clear? So in the metals, exceptions are there. If we talk about the potassium and sodium, so they have very low specific gravity, even less than 1. Clear? So what is specific gravity? It is The density of an object divided by the density of, yes, water. Clear? So all the physical properties we learnt before, and now we have some chemical properties. Okay, so what is the difference according to the chemical properties between both? Okay, first of all we have reaction with oxygen. So what happens if metals and non-metals, they react with oxygen? What kind of a solution do they give? So first of all, metals. So here I'm taking an example of magnesium. Clear? So magnesium is a metal, and when it reacts with oxygen, so magnesium plus oxygen. Clear? So what does this give? It gives 2MgO. That means magnesium oxide. Clear? And when this solution is put on the litmus paper, then what happens? The litmus paper turns into blue. Okay, so litmus turns into blue. So this color, this blue color indicates that the solution is in basic nature. Okay, so when metals react with oxygen, they give basic oxides. Okay, so here oxides, so they give basic oxides. Clear? And if we talk about non-metals, so here sulfur I'm taking for an example. Clear? So when sulfur, it reacts with oxygen, it gives SO2, that means sulfur dioxide. When this tests on litmus paper, then litmus turns into red, and this red color indicates the acidic solution. Clear? So when non-metals react with oxygen, they give acidic oxides. So this is the chemical property of metals and non-metals when they react with oxygen. So metals, they give basic oxides, and non-metals, they mostly give acidic oxides. Okay? And the next one we have reaction with water. First of all, here normal water. So in normal water, I'm taking example of sodium. Okay, when sodium reacts with water, it gives sodium hydroxide. Clear? And hydrogen, which is just heat. Okay, so they just this sodium, it vigorously reacts with water, and even potassium, calcium, copper and gold. So these are the also examples that react with normal water to give heat. Clear? And next we have hot or steam. When like magnesium, it reacts with water, it gives magnesium oxide. Clear? And even with the heat. And iron reacts with hot or steam strongly. Okay, so metals are highly reactive with water, but if we talk about the non-metals, they do not react with water. Got it? So students, next we have reaction with acid. So for this we just perform an activity. Okay, so what do you need to do? So take some metals and non-metals. Clear? So for example, magnesium, sodium, or also copper wire, charcoal, sulfur powder. So these are the things, that means metals and non-metals you can take for the experiment. And what you need to do, so now put these metals and non-metals in the different test tube and add something 5 ml of HCl or sulfuric acid. Okay, so first of all we will do with the HCl, that means hydrochloric acid. Okay, so what happens then when sodium reacts? So among all the non-metals and metals, so these are the things that would react with these solutions. Okay, and first of all we have sodium, and sodium reacts with hydrochloric acid, it gives sodium chloride. right, and release hydrogen. Clear? When metals react with acids, they give salt with some liberating hydrogen. Okay. So next we have iron is added in the HCl, then it gives ferrous chloride with some hydrogen. Next, aluminium, it reacts with hydrochloric acid, then it gives aluminium chloride, okay, and releases hydrogen. So among all, only magnesium reacts with the sulfuric acid. It is dilute sulfuric acid, okay, and when it reacts with it, it gives magnesium sulfate, some hydrogen. Okay, so these are the metals that react with the acid. And if we talk about the non-metals do not react with acids, okay, they react with bases. So the next one we have reaction with bases. So here NaOH base we are taking, okay, and most of the non-metals, their reaction with sodium hydroxide is very complex, okay. And if we move to the metals, then aluminium, zinc and lead. So these are the metals that react with this base. So let's see here. First aluminium's example I'm taking, okay. So here 2 aluminium plus 2 NaOH we are taking. What happens when both reacts with each other? So okay, so when these reacts with each other, then what do they give? This is sodium aluminate, okay, and this hydrogen also releases out by the process. So this reaction shows that the heat is released out during this process, and this process is exothermic in nature. Clear? So what is displacement reaction? So to understand this reaction, first of all we need to know about the reactivity series. Reactivity series. What is reactivity series? It is the series of metal, okay, according to the reactivity, that means from maximum to the minimum. Clear? For example, potassium to gold. Potassium, it is highly reactive element in the metals, and gold is least reactive in the nature, okay. So this series from maximum to minimum, this series is known as reactivity series. Clear? And now what is displacement reaction? So when two metals are replaced by each other, but the condition is the metal which you are going to replace by the previous one, it should be below the series of that, okay. So it should be below the reactivity series. Clear? And it couldn't be above the element which is present in the reactivity series. Clear? So let's take an example. Here iron is there, and here I am taking CuSO4, that means copper sulfate. So here is the reaction. So this copper will be replaced by this, okay, and this iron is more reactive than copper. Clear? So what would be your product? Plus copper. So this copper is out in this process. Clear? So this is called displacement reaction. Clear? So students, next we have uses of some metals. So first of all we have uses of iron. So if we talk about iron, so the first one we have pig iron is a hard and brittle form of iron with a high carbon content, and it is used in making pipes, sinks and storage tanks also, railings also, cylinders, etc. So the process is known as casting. Clear? Next we have articles such as nails, bolts, chains, wires, nets, agricultural tools, etc. are also made by the iron, okay. And For making these, we need to hammer these all the things, right? And the next one we have steel. So steel contains also 0.5 to 1.5% of carbon, and this carbon is taken from the iron, okay, and it is used in the construction of buildings, ships, bridges, and railway lines, etc. And even stainless steels we have, and this we use for making our utensils, knives, etc. Clear? Move to other metal, that is copper. So copper is mostly used as electric wires, because we know very well that copper is a metal and it is good conductor of electricity. So hence it is used as making electric wires, okay, and even copper coils are used in several electrical appliances. Got it? And it is also used to make heating utensils, car radiators, and even the calorimeters also. And it forms useful alloys. So alloys we will discuss in the next one, okay. So till that you need to know that it is used for forming alloys. Clear? So the next one we have uses of aluminium. So where do we use aluminium? It is increasingly replacing by copper wires. Copper as an electric conductor, especially in overhead cables. So aluminium is also a good conductor of electricity, right? And it is used for making utensils also. Cooking utensils also are made from this. And next we have aluminium foil is used for packing food. Next we have aluminium powder is used as paint to prevent rusting of iron. So it is used for painting the things, iron objects mostly, okay. And to prevent, we use this aluminium foil, and it reduces the case of rusting. And next we have aluminium alloys are light and strong, and they are used to make bodies and engine parts of the aircrafts and car, okay. So aluminium is used for making bodies of aircrafts and cars. Next we have uses of zinc. Zinc is used in dry cells, and it is used in coating iron sheets to prevent the rusting of iron, and this process is known as galvanizing of iron. So galvanization is a process in which we just use zinc for coating iron objects to prevent this from rusting of iron. And last one we have, it is used in the preparation of useful alloys such as brass, bronze, and German silver. So these are also made from the zinc, okay. So here other metals are also there. First of all we have lead. So it is mostly used as electrode in the automobile batteries, okay. And next we have steel or iron. So steel, it uses as plates with a coating of tin are used for making food containers. So it is used as for making of food containers, okay. And this is also used to make alloys such as solder and bronze. Next one we have chromium. So chromium electroplated on iron gives it a corrosion resistance shining finish. For example, in handles of bicycle or car bumpers, etc. So these are coated with the chromium. Clear? Next we have nickel. It is electroplated on other metals to give them a corrosion resistance finish. It is also used to make some alloys. So chromium and nickel both are used for making other metals for resisting the corrosion effect. And next we have titanium. So it is light and strong corrosion resistance metal, and it is used for making bodies of aircrafts. Next we have mercury. So mercury being a liquid at room temperature, and we use in thermometers and barometers, right? So whenever you move to hospital and a doctor puts a thermometer in your mouth, and the mercury, it raises with the temperature, okay. So it is liquid at room temperature. So here are some uses of common non-metals and metalloids. So first of all we have silicon. So silicon, it is extensively used in the electronic and computer industries to make devices such as transistors, microchips, and solar cell, okay. And next, it is used to manufacture silicons, which are used for making waterproof clothes, greases and polishes, and insulating materials for electrical appliances. The next one is uses of sulfur. So sulfur is used in the manufacture of sulfuric acid, which is used in several industrial processes. And the next is it is used in the vulcanization of rubber, which makes rubber hard enough to be used in tires. So why the tires are hard in nature? Because of the sulfurs. Okay. And next we have it is used in the skin ointment because of its fungicidal properties. So sulfur is used in the skin ointments because it just heals the fungal infections. And next we have being an insecticide and fungicide, it is used to spray fruit trees against pests and diseases. So the next we have uses of phosphorus. So phosphorus is used in making matchbox and in the fireworks industries because it is bit reactive, and it is used in the manufacture of phosphate fertilizers also. So it acts as a chemical, and it is used in the fertilizers also. Next we have uses of carbon. So carbon as a graphite is used in making the lead of pencils, electrodes in tricells and electric arcs, and as a lubricant. Next we have carbon as diamond is used in jewelry and in making cutting tools. So like glass tools is cut by this diamond, and this diamond is a form of carbon. So the next we have carbon as charcoal is used in filters to purify air and water, and even this charcoal is used for the cosmetic industries also. And the next one we have carbon as coal is used as a fuel. So if we talk about the natural fuel, so carbon is also used as a fuel. Next we have uses of hydrogen. So hydrogen is used for the manufacture of ammonia gas, which is used to manufacture fertilizers such as urea and ammonium sulfate. So hydrogen is used in the manufacturing of ammonia also. Next we have it is used in the extraction of metals such as copper, lead and tin. So it is also used as in the process of extraction, which is metallurgy. And next we have oxyhydrogen flame obtained by burning hydrogen in oxygen is used for cutting and welding metals. So it used in welding of the metals also, such as the iron. And next we have hydrogen is considered to be an non-polluting fuel of the future. Considerable amount of research is being carried out to use it efficiently as a fuel. So it is also known as non-polluting fuel, and it can be used in the future for making fuel. So students, this was for today. In the next video we will continue with the noble metals and corrosion and so other things that are related to the metals and non-metals and even the metalloids. Until that, you need to learn the things that we learned today.